Let's go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Chuck Tuck, and I am with AVer, and I'll be doing the presentation today, but we do have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Carissa Kohler, and she is a math teacher, a high school math teacher. She has been using the document camera for 7+ years now, and which really means that she's been using the document camera prior to this stay-at-home work order and the COVID. So she's got a lot of use out of a document camera. And now that we've been on the stay-at-home and we're doing our distant learning and teaching, she's actually been, well, even prior to this, she's been recording using the document camera, posting it to her YouTube channel. So she has a lot of useful information. She has a lot of great videos as well. So I'm going to let her do a little bit of a presentation once we get started, but I just wanted to do a quick introduction of herself. So what are we going to cover today? So our topic today is really learning how to create content with AVer, and that really means using our document camera and using our AVer Sphere 2 software. So learn how to create and maintain the content that you've created. So as I mentioned, we'll have Carissa start that off. She's gonna, again, talk about her user experience. We'll let her decide if she wants to just talk to you or if she wants to go ahead and give an example. She'll probably give you a link or let you know where her stuff is that she's already recorded. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use AVer software and the document camera to create the content. So it'll be very basic, it'll be quick, and it'll be simple. So we'll also learn where to find already existing content. Now, some of you may already know where to find some of this, but for those of you who don't, this will be very useful for you as well. And then we're going to learn how to create once and reuse your content many times over and over. Because that's the one thing that creating this content is going to do for you, is allow you to use it over and over again so you don't have to repeatedly create something. So that means saving time. Now, what is content? Well, for over a decade, content has been growing. And now what content is with pretty much every keystroke, every click of a mouse, we're building and we're adding content on the web. So we refer to this as digital media. So you've all heard of the word or the phrase, content is king, just like with real estate, location, location, location. For us, it's content. So having content, readily available content is king, is the most important thing for us. So what is content? Well, again, as I said, in these days, just about everything and anything that you can click on, that you can share, that you can save, that is all content. And that means everything from text, if you're using Word documents or creating Word documents, that's content. Pictures that you take, images that you have, graphics, animations, videos, and even audio files. That is all content. So that's something to think about with the audio file. You can also create these just audio. You know, what's big is audiobooks are huge, podcasts are really big. So you could create your own lessons using audio if you want as well. So who creates this content? Well, you do. So content really is pretty simple to create. And it's virtually all around us. It's just a matter of trying to decide, how is it that I'm going to use that content? What do I need the content for? Am I doing math? Am I doing history? Am I doing nutrition? So again, it's just a matter of deciding how you're going to use it. But content truly is all around us. If you think about it, we have these phones, our phones. We take pictures all the time. That's content. It's digital content. So just remember that it's very, very simple to create. It's just a matter of creativity and using your mind. To me, what I have found, and when I bring this up, some tend to agree that one of the best places to find resources, believe it or not, is a cereal box. Yes, I did say cereal box. So you might be questioning me or yourself saying, why a cereal box? Not necessarily just a cereal box, but advertisements and cereal boxes are great, especially for kids now. So you think about it, you're walking through the grocery aisle, you're looking at things very, very colorful. So that is to grab our attention. And right now, one of the most important things is to grab and maintain the attention of the students, of the kids that are online. I've heard things where kids are having a hard time sometimes with the online distance learning. But if you add the colors to it, advertisements, something that's familiar to them, it makes it a little bit easier for them to follow and to understand. And you'll pick up what I mean in a little bit when I show you some cereal boxes and things like that. So how do I create my content and where do I find my content? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you can use your smartphone if you want to capture and create your digital content, but we would like for you to use your document camera. Either way, it's going to be really good for capturing and creating your content, okay? And then how do you share it? Well, you could go ahead and use your email. If you're using email as an example, if you take a picture with your phone and you're saying, Chuck, how do I use that content? How do I get it over to my desktop or laptop? You can email it to yourself, and then you could download and save it to your desktop or laptop. And same goes with capturing images and then sending it to your Google Drive or your OneDrive, anything like that, Dropbox, just so you can have access to it. One thing though, always keep in mind that content management is also very important. I'll probably bring that up a couple of times. So here's something here. Where do I find some of these resources that are already pre-made? Now, some of this might be free. Some may have a fee to it. Some may have a membership fee. BrainPop is probably a popular one for a lot of you folks out there. You've heard of that. Coursera is good, especially for the high school and higher ed if you want to get into there. Now, Crash Course is an interesting one. It's really good, and it's as it says, it's hosted by the entertaining Green Brothers, but it's really good. If you haven't checked that site out, take a look, try to find Crash Course. Of course, we have C-SPAN, really good for the history and things like that, Discovery Education as well. So with that being said, rather than going over the Sphere 2 right now, let me try to get this over here and allow Carissa to go in and talk a little bit about her experiences and what she has done. So let's stop sharing here. And, oh, hi.
Hi.
You're right on.
Yes.
James. I think James got you set right in there.
Yeah, he did. So I'm Carissa Kohler. Thank you for asking me to be here. I use my AVer, I have it right here, every day in my classroom, as well as now in the distance learning. So I just wanted to talk about the different ways I use it in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So in the classroom, I prefer the AVer model because the zoom is so much better than the other document cameras that I've used in the past. And that's a big thing when I'm doing math, because I have to focus on a certain piece of the information. I think that's a really good thing about this model is the zoom function. And I can move the arm. So the arm moves different places, which I really like. So those are the things that I really like about this, the M70. And that's why I choose to use this one. Now, prior to COVID, I flipped my classroom. I did that because we found that the content that we were assigning for homework was just genuinely too hard for the students to do by themselves. So instead of having them try to do the problems at home, we flipped it so they did the lessons at home and then they came back into class and we did problems in class. The only way I was able to flip my classroom was because of this document camera. Everyone else at my campus doesn't have the AVer. They have a different model of a document camera, and theirs does not allow them to record. So that's why this was such an important thing for us, is that we could record off of it. So for those of you that don't know how to do that, I'm just going to show you on my document camera. So what I do in the classroom is right here, there is a USB port. You can flip this guy to that side, and then you plug in a USB, and then you can record onto a USB by pressing, by pressing record right here. So that's something that's really unique about the AVer model, is that it has that function that you can plug in a USB and then hit record. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick over to my YouTube channel. These are all videos that I've recorded off of my AVer. The main thing that I wanted to focus on is just how clear the image is. So you can actually see from, your screen just how clear each of the images are. That's really important for my students because if you can't see it, you can't learn it. And just like Chuck was saying, the different color, that kind of thing, that's really important for the students as well. So I just wanted to show you guys that. It looks like we had a chat maybe. No? Okay. So I wanted to show you that. That was how I did it prior to COVID. Now, when COVID hit, I was not allowed to go grab my document camera. That was a problem for me because I had to start using my phone to record things, and it wasn't great. So then we were allowed to go in one day, and I took this out because I really needed it. The reason that this was so useful to me during COVID is because I could continue recording off of the USB, but I also could record via Zoom. So that's actually what I've been doing is I've been doing the same thing, setting this up, but then recording off of Zoom, because then it goes directly to my computer, which is really great, and I can upload it from there. Also, I held live classes with this because I would just have it here, and then I could teach just like I would in class, and I would do my notes with my document camera right here. That was a really big deal for my students, being able to see exactly how I would have done it in class with this document camera. And again, that's just not the case with all document cameras, and that's why I really prefer this model.
Hey, Carissa?
Yes.
Is it easy to create these courses, these classes, these lessons?
Yeah, I just teach it just like I would normally. It just happens to be an empty classroom that I'm teaching it to. So I ask the same questions and I'm still talking. Another really great thing about this, which I did forget to mention, it has a built-in microphone, so you don't have to have your own microphone. Right here, it records everything that you say, so you don't have to have earbuds in, you don't have to have a microphone. This device does everything. It records the picture and the sound all at once, which is really, really great. And it's, like I said, I teach the exact same way. I'm just teaching to an empty classroom, or I'm teaching to no one in my office right here during COVID. I also was able to hold office hours, which I would have a bunch of students on my Zoom, and then I would be doing problems right here underneath my document camera for them to watch.
So it sounds like to me, it's just really a matter of getting used to sometimes talking to yourself, but
Yes.
You're basically, like you said, you can imagine your classroom is out there.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching the exact same way, right?
Yes, exactly the same way. I am still asking questions. I'm still having them think about things. It's exactly the same way as I would teach, just to no one, which is a very unique experience, I will say. And when you were talking about the content and how important content is, I have control issues. And so I choose to record all of my stuff myself because I have control issues. Yes, you can go find your own content, but if you have the tool already available, you might as well use it yourself. And so I am thankful that I have it, that I can use it, because I have control issues and I need to make my own content.
Yeah, and it's not difficult to make, like you said, it's very simple.
No, it is very simple. The USB, so the USB plug here is really easy to record off of the USB. And then if you plug into your PC, there's a plug right here that goes, it's a USB, it plugs right into your laptop. And so you don't need anything extra. You do have to have Sphere on your laptop to use it on your laptop. But besides that, it's super easy. It's just like teaching in a classroom.
So for those of you who are saying, well, gosh, my document camera doesn't look like that, and I don't have a button that looks like that,
Mm-hmm.
all of you have USB connection, and you can all download Sphere 2 for free.
Yeah.
So as Carissa was saying, you want to have that Sphere 2 software so you can record right on your desktop or laptop.
Mm-hmm. And that's a really big thing, because then you can upload it straight to wherever you need to upload it for your students. And it's saved to your your computer as well, so you have both.
As far as your content, do you find that your YouTube channel is probably the best and easiest for your kids, the students, to access?
Yeah, so I've actually taken on the role of recording all lessons for the classes that I teach. Again, control issues over here, and I'm well aware of it. So I teach integrated 2 and I teach quantitative reasoning, and I do all the videos for both of those classes. Every teacher goes to my YouTube channel and takes my videos because number one, I'm tech savvy and I know how to do it. And number two, because I wanted to do it because I have control issues. But it's so easy. And the other teachers that have tried to make videos, whether it be off of their phones or off a different platform, it just hasn't come out as clear as mine. And that's really important. For students to be, learning and to grasp the content, they need to be able to see everything. And I think this helps the best.
Yeah, like Carissa saying, clarity, being able to see something clear is very important, because if it's not clear, and if you can't hear clearly either, you lose the kid's attention. So thank you for all that. Now, I want to double check on the chat room. If anybody has questions for Carissa, please put that in there and we could filter it through and ask her real quick. If not, we'll have the chat room. We'll be able to go through the questions later and take a look and possibly put it out there on some sort of email or to all of you that are registered.
So I did see one question and I can answer it. It
Great.
was, how do you show it on Zoom? So that's a good question. Down at the bottom of your Zoom picture, you'll see a video, like a camera. You click the arrow next to it and then you just switch between it. There'll be another icon that says document camera and you just click that and then it'll automatically switch into your doc cam. It's very easy. It's really fast. It's not like you're going to have to wait when the student asks you a question, but I would be talking to a student like this, quickly switch over and then do a problem right underneath it. And that was huge for my students, that they could see me, but also see the content. That was really important.
Right. Carissa is saying that is something that's very, very important, because sometimes if the kids, especially you could say the younger ones, well, really K through 12, there's a detachment. If they don't see the face of the teacher because they're always used to seeing the teacher, then all of a sudden now all they see is a screen and a voice. It kind of throws them off sometimes.
I would agree. And I also, going back to your content part, another really big thing is that it's me teaching the lessons from my document camera that are online. If you find content from various places, yeah, it will still teach the content, but you don't have that connection with the teacher. You don't have that connection that you may not, that teacher doesn't know what questions to ask your students. So creating your own stuff is a really, really big deal.
Listen to what she is saying. Yes, creating your own is the greatest thing, because you have total control and
yes.
you know exactly what is there. So
yes, and you know that you know how your kids are going to react to different questions. You know what you need to focus on with your own students. It's not, yes, there may be a better teacher or a different teacher, but they're not your kid's teacher. And so creating your own stuff is a really big deal to me, at least for me.
So, and probably all teachers are like that, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Carissa?
No, unless there are questions, I think I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else. Send post presentation. Yes, this is recorded. Is there anything specific anybody out there would like to ask Carissa on how she does this? Or how much time does it take? Because time to all of us is very important.
So the time, I record the lesson just like I would. So however long the lesson would take. Generally speaking, I don't go over 12 minutes. If it is over 12 minutes, I apologize to my students, but 12 minutes is really my max. High schoolers have an attention span of that. So 12 minutes is really my cut. So 12 minutes to record. And then depending on what I use, the USB or the Zoom, however long it takes to upload to YouTube, not very long. Now I use a different program. It's called Edpuzzle. I do suggest your participants to look into it. It's an awesome online program that allows you to assign things to students. Again, it's completely separate from AVer, but it is a great, great program. I'll put it in the chat. One thing that I like about it is you can actually put questions embedded into your content. Now it does cost money, so you have to get a license for it, but it's a really great program, and that's what I use. So I actually do the lesson twice. So I do the lesson and then I watch it when I put in questions. So it takes probably 30 minutes to do a lesson, but it's really not that hard. And I've told my coworkers that it's not that hard, and a lot of them have started making their own content because of it.
That's good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like we have somebody asking about the editing of the videos.
Yeah. So that's what I use. I use a program called Edpuzzle. That's how I edit it. You can cut, slice, put voiceover, anything like that into it. If I make a mistake when I'm doing my recordings, which happens quite often because I make mistakes, I don't go back and re-record. I don't think that's necessary. If I catch the mistake in the edit, I'll just put in there, this is a mistake, find it. Like, find the mistake, because that's another skill that they could use. Yeah, I just don't re-record things because that would take way too long. Oh, there we go. Someone put Edpuzzle in there.
Good. That's actually, you've given a lot of great information.
And you guys can absolutely look up my channel on YouTube. It's just my name, Carissa Kohler. There's tons of videos on there, and you could absolutely tell the difference between the ones that I've done with my AVer when I was in the classroom, and then the ones that I wasn't able to use it when I was here at my house, and then I went to go get it. There's a substantial difference in the quality of the video because of this. And so I think that's a really important thing to note.
Thank you for sharing that with everyone. Well, if there's no further questions for Carissa, we'll go ahead and switch over to me again, and then I'll just go through the Sphere 2 software real quick. Because as Carissa was saying, sometimes, you know, our attention spans are like this, and this has been great information when we're being able to have a dialogue back and forth and folks can listen and learn. So I won't take too much time going through Sphere 2, but I'd like to at least show a little bit about that. So thank you, Carissa. So let me go ahead and go back over to sharing my screen over the Sphere 2. So here we have Sphere 2. There we go. So right now, Sphere 2 is on. Hopefully you can see that on my screen over here. So what I want to show you is how easy it is to use Sphere 2 to capture images. And there are a couple different things that you can do. And again, this is creating your own content, as Chris is constantly reminding us and telling us that creating your own content probably is the very best thing to do, rather than using canned content. Doesn't mean that you can't use the canned content, because you can, but creating your own is probably going to be the best because it's you that is doing it, and you know your students better than anybody else. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get rid of that. So I've launched my Sphere 2. I'm using the document camera, and this is a live image right here. So how do I capture these images? First, let me show you where it is going to be saved. As I mentioned earlier, content management is very important too. So if you're creating your content, whether it be videos, audio recording, or just images, and if you're using Sphere 2, we want to go up to the upper left where it says Sphere 2, and we want to go to where it says Options. Just select Options. Some of you may have seen this before or are very familiar with this. You notice where it says Image, and then you have your video, but for this part right now, I'm going to concentrate on image, but it's the same for the image or video. You do have an option of setting up your prefix. So if you teach a specific subject, or you want to put down, it might be for biology, you could type in biology there, or whatever you want to do. And then however you want to have your, the suffix, the month, date, year, hours, minutes, and seconds. So here's the important part. Right now, the default location tells us it's in the documents under AVer Media, under Media Library, and then Picture. The three dots to the far right, if you were to select that or click on that, you have an option now of saving it anywhere on your computer that you want to. So if you want to save it to something other than the default location, this is where you would go and this is how you would do it. So some of you might say, well, I want to use a USB thumb drive and save it to that. Well, you can do that as well. So the simplest way is, under computer, if you have your thumb drive, it'll be located down here. Right now, it just shows the C and D drive. Or if you want to save it to your document folder, you could do that. And then you can set up your own folder within a folder as well. Okay, so I'm not going to change my default location. That's the same thing for video again. So one other thing here, it says always save captured images to the hard disk. I have that always checked because that means as soon as I click a picture, it's always going to save it to wherever my location is. And the one on the bottom, open captured image with default image viewer, that's up to you whether or not you want to have that checked, because what will happen then is every time you take a picture, it'll take a second and it's going to open that picture up. So for the purpose of if you're just capturing images to create content, you may want to have that closed because it'll constantly open and open and open. You have to always close it out. And as I said, the video, if you're creating videos, it's the same exact thing right here. One of the differences being though, is you have where it says video quality, high, medium, and low. I tend to keep it on medium. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space for your file, and it gets a good quality. One other thing too, as Carissa was saying that she also uses Zoom and she captures her lessons with the Zoom recording feature. And that's actually what we're doing right now that we're going to be able to share with you later. One of the reasons I think she had mentioned the reason she likes to do that is it saves it directly to her computer, and then she could immediately upload it from there. So, and then you can see that there's some other settings in here and stuff like that, but we don't need to go through that. It won't pertain to any of the document cameras really that you folks have. So the most important is the image and the video. So we know where it's all going to be saved now. So let's get back into the, how am I going to capture and what are the different capture options that I have. So I talked about color, catching our attentions. I talked about cereal boxes. Now, this isn't necessarily the cereal that I eat, but just so you see, I mean, they're very, very colorful. So yeah, big deal. Okay, you do have a lot of information on the side here, which can translate to working with math because you have percentages. It says sodium is, I can't read that very well, 230 milligrams. That's 10% of your daily recommended allowance. So you can figure out, well, then what is 100%? So you have math right there. If you're talking about nutrition, you have nutritional values. So you don't have to go search for anything. You're creating your own content. Again, we talked about ads. All of this stuff has very bright colors to grab the kids' attention. One of the things that's great about using the cereal boxes is you kids and people tend to start paying attention to what they're looking at. When they find a cereal box, they start looking, okay, that's 10% of this, and they start working things out in their head. So, you know, in a way, it kind of helps with their, again, health and nutrition for their personal self, but it also helps them with math and as far as reading and everything else, especially for the younger kids. Now, let's go ahead and talk about how am I going to capture these images. So your icon down at the bottom row, you have your camera control. So you always want to make sure everything is in focus. Garbage in, garbage out. So you have to remember that. So these are just, you can zoom in if you need to zoom in. But what we want to do is we want to capture. Here's a video recording capture. So if I want to record video, I do that. The image. So you do have several options. Starting from the far left, this is a capture, and this will actually capture the entire screen. So as an example, if I click on that, it captures. And as I mentioned, if I have that one box checked, that'll open it up in my default editor. This is what happens. It always opens up. But you can see where the image is really nice. It's very good. Close that out. Now, if I wanted to do the HD or high definition capture, I can do that. Once again, it'll capture the entire screen, It is better image quality. It's not necessarily to capture the high quality mode. See, it takes a little bit longer too. It's not absolutely necessary unless you think that you're going to zoom in a lot, I mean, very far. And when I say zoom in, that means if I'm going to use this as a lesson, if I'm going to zoom into the picture and things like that, maybe on schematics or diagrams, that at that point you may want to use the HD or the high quality. Now, here's one other thing. This is a feature that I think would be most used most, is your area capture. So you just click on that once, and then you see that you do have a crosshair, and now you can select where or what I want to capture. So I'm just going to stop right here and let go, and it takes a picture, and there's what I captured. So all these images now are being automatically saved to my default location or wherever the location is that you selected for all of your images to be saved. Okay. So now, how am I going to use this? Well, a couple different ways. If I use my side-by-side mode, click on that. That is giving me my live image here. I'm going to go up here and just change something, just go to one camera. Near the upper left area, you saw that there's a grid of 9 boxes. I select that, videos and images. This won't replay your videos on here, but it will do everything with your images that you captured. So the serial box, let's see, let me go down here. I just select and I drag and I bring it over. So now I have one live image. I can do a side-by-side comparison. I can also begin to use my annotation tool. So I can say this is the name of the cereal brand or whatever it might be. I might be talking about nutritional value. And then we could say, well, where is it over here? Okay, let me go ahead and delete all that. Now, over on my still image that I brought in, not my live image, if I click and select that screen, you notice that there's an orange box around the active screen, and then at the bottom towards the right you see that there's a row of icons. I can now zoom in if I need to, and you can see where the image is pretty good. And what's nice is I could move this around just by clicking and dragging. So now I'm able to zoom in really far, move around on the document. I can now use my annotation tool and say this that we are looking at is actually right here. So you might start thinking about how you can use this for, again, math, spelling, nutrition, all kinds of stuff. So let me go ahead and get out of here. But hopefully you could begin to start thinking about what you're going to capture and how you're going to capture. The video is going to be the biggest thing, I think, for all of you. Carissa's been capturing video, creating video content using her document camera. If you don't have a document camera similar to hers where you're able to capture it directly onto the document camera, go back over to where it says visualizer, and it's just as simple as clicking on that. It's a movie slate, and then you're going to see a red button over to the far right or left, excuse me. Click on that and it begins to record. And then you can do your annotations, whatever you need to do, or you just begin as she does and you just do it live. So you don't have to do the annotation if you don't want to. Using an annotation on still images is going to allow you to reuse that still image over and over. But for something like Carissa that she was doing, oh, let me go ahead and get rid of that. So that was kind of replaying everything. With the video, it's not necessarily so that you have to use your annotation tool. You can do it live, capture the video, and now that can still be used over and over because it's going to be on your YouTube channel or wherever you may have it stored for your students to access, and they can watch it over and over. One thing that was great that Carissa said is that she's now the champion leading everything and doing everything for recording so other teachers can retrieve it and use it as well. So if, not to say that you're going to want to do that, but if you create your video and other teachers are creating videos, the best thing to do is perhaps let each other know that you have created something so you can share it. So you might be able to share it from Dropbox to Dropbox, or you just might want to share your YouTube channel or wherever it is that you have it stored, that you're having students go and retrieve it and view it. One last thing I'm going to show you here is the whiteboard, because I showed you the side-by-side mode where you're able to bring in what you have captured and you can zoom in. One thing different on the whiteboard, this is still the same. I could click over here. I could bring in an image. I can move my image around. However, I cannot resize it. So that's the one thing to keep in mind is when you bring it into the whiteboard, you won't be able to resize it. You can still use all your annotation tools and things like that. So that's the difference between using the side-by-side mode and the whiteboard. The side-by-side, again, allows you to have a live video, whereas a whiteboard, you do not have a live video at all. So that's really it for this Sphere 2. There's a whole lot of other things, but we're going to stop at that, and I'll stop sharing my screen here. Are there any questions? I know that we covered quite a bit, but it's on a small a topic of content, but we talked about a lot. So let's see if there's any questions that folks have. Let's see. Anybody have any questions? No? If you want to know where and how you can use Zoom, we have a number of different videos on our webpage that'll show you how to use Zoom. So as Chris is saying, you can switch back and forth between your document camera and your webcam. Now, there is something that you can do, and I'll show you real quick, and then we'll go ahead and close this out. You can actually do this. If you go to share screen, we see all this, and this is what we could share. But if you actually go over to where it says advanced, click on advanced, and it says content from second camera. If I was to select that, then click share, we have our share content from second camera. There it is. So right here, you've got the box. So I switch camera, I'm over here, switch it back. So there you go, folks. I hope you learned something out of this. Again, this has been recorded. We will be posting this later. We do have several different links in here. We'll probably have a link to Carissa's webpage as well. So, or not webpage, but her YouTube site. And I just want to say thank you very much, Carissa, and thank you very much to all of you who attended. Keep doing what you're doing and create, create, and create. Remember, content, content, content. Thank you very much. If there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and end this right now.